진짜 크다 근데.
그러게요.
버섯이 이거 진짜 크게 있는데? 오 여기 비친다. 하늘이 비쳐.
오, 그렇네.
근데 진짜 느낌 있는데?
진짜 예쁘다. 산책로가 잘 돼 있네.
진짜 엄청 큰데? 저기 아래 있나 봐.
맞아, 이 안에 있는 거. 이게 폭포 소리가 난다.
와.
와 진짜 완전 모노길
그쪽이었나?
아니야?
응. 진짜 멋있다.
와 시원해 보여.
You leave me notes before you leave, and lipstick on the bathroom mirror.
너무 예쁘다.
그러니까 나우랑 오면 재밌을 것 같아. 좋은 것 같아.
아니 이거 진짜 밤 완전 밤 되면 진짜 완전 궁금하다. 진짜 예쁠 것 같아.
재밌고. 그러니까. 제천에서 번지 점프나 그런 것도 물론 탔지만 자연을 좀 더 많이 느낄 수 있어.
맞아.
산도 가고.
네. 근데 어떻게 보면 번지 점프 같은 것도 바람 느끼면서
맞아요.
자연을 느끼는 거니까.
맞아요.
네.
해외에 계신 우리 나우분들 그리고 시청자분들도 여기 제천에 오셔서 재밌는 어트랙션 그리고 다양한 먹거리 그리고 이런 또 장소들도 명소들도 꼭 오셔서 좋은
많이
경험 하셨으면 좋겠습니다.
진짜로.
강추드립니다.
간추.
제천으로
놀러 오세요.
트립스타그램! 예!
Takes
안녕.
little time because you laugh when you get mad. And when I wrap my
drawing more fans from all over the world. Local consumer prices continue to hover at the 2% cent rate in April. Turning to robots to allow the visually impaired the chance to better indulge in cultural experiences. Like the number of hybrid cars are registered in South Korea has surpassed 2 million with its locally developed Yuri rocket.
아리랑 도시는 세계와 연결되어 문화를 창조했고 새로운 것을 받아들였다.
함께여서 우리는 더 자유롭고 더 멀리 갈 수 있어.
닫힌 문이 아니라 열린 질문으로
나에게 에이펙은
자유,
융합,
국제성,
다양성, 포용,
개발.
신라의 정신이 에이펙 2025로 이어집니다.
everyone. Welcome to our morning edition of Arirang News. We begin with these stories making the headlines at this hour. Vietnam's top leader is in Seoul for a summit with President Lee Jae-myung today, making him the first foreign leader to make a state visit to Korea since Lee took office in early June. This is the first time in more than a decade that a Vietnamese political leader is visiting Korea. The commander of U.S. Forces Korea says capabilities matter rather than numbers, stressing the need for changes to American troops stationed in Korea, potentially signaling a downsizing of forces ahead of the summit between leaders of South Korea and the United States. North Korea has denounced a large-scale joint military exercise between Seoul and Washington. But at the same time, the North was also seen taking down propaganda loudspeakers near the border, following similar moves by Seoul in a bid to ease tensions. President Lee Jae-myung is hosting Vietnam's political leader To Lam at his office in Seoul. Their talks will include cooperation on trade, investment, and science technology, including nuclear energy and high-speed rail, to bolster the two countries' comprehensive strategic partnership. Later in the day, Lam is set to meet with heads of major South Korean businesses, including SK Group. It's the first trip by a general secretary of Vietnam's Communist Party to Korea in 11 years. Lam is also the first foreign leader to be hosted by the new South Korean president. So as we just heard, the General Secretary of Vietnam's Communist Party, the country's most powerful official, is in Seoul for a 4-day trip as South Korea looks to strengthen ties with the fourth largest economy in Southeast Asia. For more on the significance of this visit, we're joined by Cho Won-duk, Assistant Professor at the Department of Indo-Pacific Studies at Korea National Diplomatic Academy. Professor Cho, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
So this is the first state visit by a Vietnamese leader to South Korea in more than a decade. What might be discussed at the summit?
As you know, from what we know, I think the agenda will be broad, covering political, economic, technology, and future-oriented cooperations. I think that first of all, there will be a reaffirmation of the comprehensive strategic partnership between the two countries, which is at the highest level of bilateral ties, upgraded in 2020, and a commitment to make this partnership more future-oriented and mutually beneficial. In addition, I think that, as you know, we are convening APEC this year. At the same time, Vietnam is expected to hold it in 2027. I think the two leaders might discuss on cooperating issues regarding APEC and the shared importance of multilateral cooperations. And also, as you mentioned, that the talks will be centered on trade and investment. And President Lee has already told Vietnam's state news agency that both countries share the goal of reaching $150 billion in bilateral trade by 2030, which is a major jump from the $86.7 billion recorded last year. I think the infrastructure cooperation will be a key highlight in this summit, I think. Discussions are expected on Korean participation in Vietnam's national projects, such as nuclear power development, high-speed rail networks, and smart city constructions. These are the areas where South Korea has both technological expertise and commercial interest, and where Vietnam sees opportunities to accelerate its national vision of becoming an upper middle income countries by 2030 and a high income countries by 2045. And also, I think the two leaders may discuss on science, technology, human capital development cooperations. I think this is also be on the list. And finally, the people-to-people exchanges between two countries will not be overlooked. President Lee has emphasized the depth of existing ties For example, there are around 100,000 Korean Vietnamese multicultural families, and referring to the countries as in-laws in a friendly way. And he has highlighted the role of the Vietnamese workers in Korea as a reliable civilian diplomats, and signaled his intention to improve incentives, working conditions, and support for multicultural household.
I see, and Lam is the first foreign leader to make a state visit to South Korea since President Lee Jae-myung took office in early June. Could you tell us more about the significance of this visit?
Yes, the fact that President Lee chose to host the General Secretary To Lam as his very first state guest is not a coincidence. In diplomatic protocol, the identity of the first state visitor under a new administration sends a deliberate signal about a country's foreign policy priorities. And so here, the message is clear. Vietnam is not only South Korea's top partner in ASEAN, but also a pivotal player in Seoul's broader regional strategy. As you mentioned, the visit comes 11 years after last time a Vietnamese Communist Party chief visited South Korea before, and the timing reflects both sides' interest in deepening a comprehensive strategic partnerships. So by making this first high-level foreign engagement of his term, Mr. Lee in signaling that Southeast Asia and Vietnam in particular will be central to his diplomatic agenda.
I see, and there are major other diplomatic events coming up this month. And of course, eyes are now on President Lee's summit with U.S. President Donald Trump, which could take place on the 25th of this month. And Lee said he'll focus on pragmatic diplomacy. Will we be able to see that approach in action?
Yes, we will see that approach in action in the summit between President Lee and President Donald Trump. I think that this summit is going to be an early and very visible test of President Lee's pragmatic diplomacy. It will be his first face-to-face meeting with President Trump since taking office in June. And I think that the agenda is both politically sensitive and economically significant. First of all, on the side of economic side, the two leaders will likely follow up on last month's trade and tariffs negotiations, which resulted in Korea agreeing to major U.S. investment and energy purchase commitments in exchange for reducing proposed tariffs hikes. Now the focus will be on resolving the details, investment structures, non-tariff issues, and market access, where both sides still need to specify. On the other side, in the security side, Washington is pushing what is called alliance modernization, which could mean a larger South Korean defense spending and a broader role of the U.S. forces Korea in the Indo-Pacific, which is highly related to the issue of U.S. Strategic flexibility. So President Trump has a record of pressing allies for steep increases in cost sharing, figures much higher than Korea's current contribution. I think Seoul's strategy will be to offer increases in overall defense spending while keeping those demands within political manageable limits.
Right, I guess we'll have to keep a close eye on the summit. All right, Professor Cho, thank you so much for your insight today. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
The South Korean Defense Press Corps recently had a chance to visit the United States military base Camp Humphreys in Pyeongtaek. There, the USFK commander gave his views on key issues, including alliance modernization. Our defense correspondent Kim Bo-kyung was there.
Capabilities over size. That is what General Xavier Brunson, the commander of the United States Forces Korea, emphasized when asked to define alliance modernization. This follows concerns in Seoul over a possible reduction of U.S. troops on the Korean peninsula for strategic flexibility. The general did not directly mention any troop reduction, but he did highlight the need for Seoul to acknowledge strategic flexibility as well, citing the example of Patriot batteries that have been temporarily moved to the Middle East, but that are expected to return with upgrades.
And whenever things of strategic flexibility happen, I think that the onus is on this command, read me, to ensure that our allies understand what I'm doing. But there's nothing that says that we can't move to where we need to be in support of my own nation and our own objectives.
The general underlined that the ROK-U.S. alliance is not just dealing with North Korea, which he called the closest alligator to the boat, but also with Russia and China, which both have strong links with Pyongyang.
What's being asked of Korea is to be stronger against DPRK, that we might have the flexibility as we modernize our alliance so that we could go do other things.
Against such a backdrop, the issue of transferring wartime operational control, the OPCON transfer, was brought up as well. General Brunson said rushing things would hurt readiness and that conditions need to be bilaterally agreed upon.
Now, if we choose to take shortcuts, that could endanger the readiness of the force here on the peninsula. So I think that our approach has to be one that is, again, bilaterally managed, bilaterally considered, and bilaterally assessed in order to get to that point.
The allies are slated to go ahead with the annual Ulchi Freedom Shield starting next week. Some outdoor exercises have been adjusted, but the general says he is comfortable with the decision and asks the allies will still exercise fully. Kim Bo-kyung, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, North Korea has denounced the upcoming joint military drills between Seoul and Washington, vowing to take what it calls self-defense measures. The warning comes amid recent signs of easing tensions, including both Seoul and Pyongyang taking down propaganda loudspeakers along the border. Our Moon Ji-young reports.
North Korea's defense chief has denounced a planned large-scale joint military exercise between South Korea and the U.S. According to the North state-run Korean Central News Agency on Monday, Defense Minister No Kang-chol warned that Pyongyang would exercise its self-defense right against any provocation. He delivered the warning a week before Seoul and Washington are set to commence their annual summertime Ulchi Freedom Shield exercise scheduled from August 18th to 28th. Defense Minister No asserted that the joint exercise conducted under a simulated nuclear war scenario constitutes a direct military provocation against the North, significantly amplifies the unpredictability of the armistice on the Korean peninsula, and cements regional destabilization. This follows the announcement by South Korea and the U.S. on Thursday that they would conduct their regular combined Ulchi Freedom Shield exercise for the defense of the Korean peninsula in contingencies. The allies also stated that around 20 of the more than 40 field training exercises planned during this period would be postponed to September. However, North Korea did not mention the postponement of some exercises. North Korea's stern warning comes despite recent signs of potential de-escalation from the reclusive state. Last Saturday, Pyongyang began dismantling some loudspeakers installed along its border, which were previously used for noise campaigns against South Korea. South Korea's Joint Chief of Staff confirmed that North Korean military activities to remove loudspeakers were detected in parts of the frontline area as of Saturday morning. The military indicated that further verification is required to determine if this removal will extend to all border areas. This move by the North comes after the South completed removing its border loudspeakers last Tuesday, aimed at reducing inter-Korean tensions. Moon Ji-young, Arirang News.
On the local front, the first high-level consultation between government officials and the ruling party took place since the Democratic Party elected a new leader. Key topics included follow-up measures for the trade deal between South Korea and the United States. Our political correspondent Shin Ha-young reports.
South Korea's government and ruling party agreed to provide support to industries and businesses expected to be most affected by the new U.S. tariffs. This comes after the two sides on Sunday reviewed follow measures to the recent trade agreement between South Korea and the United States. During the meeting, Democratic Party leader Chung Cheong-le said the party and government will evaluate the impact of the recent trade deal on the economy and industries and devise response measures.
We will work to ensure the outcome of the trade talks directly benefits the national interest and quickly introduce the necessary bills and policies in the National Assembly to carry out follow-up measures without delay.
The two sides agreed to deliberate on the Lee Jae-myung administration's recent proposal to tighten capital gains tax rules by lowering the threshold for major shareholders, a move that sparked strong backlash from retail investors. Currently, only those holding 5 billion won, roughly $3.6 million or more, in a single listed stock are taxed. Under the new plan, that threshold would be reduced to 1 billion won, or just under $720,000.
We closely consulted and decided to deliberate on the issue while monitoring developments.
Sunday's meeting was the first high-level consultation between government officials and the ruling party since four-term lawmaker Chung was elected party leader. Prime Minister Kim Min-seok congratulated him on his election and emphasized that the party, government, and presidential office need to work as one. 신하영, Arirang News.
Washington says it's working to set up a meeting between leaders of the U.S., Russia, and Ukraine. While Kyiv has not yet commented on the matter, European allies say any peace talks with Moscow must include Ukraine. Our Lee Seung-jae has more.
U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance said Sunday that Washington is working to arrange talks between Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy.
That to change. We're at a point now where we're now trying to figure out, frankly, scheduling and things like that around when these three leaders could sit down and discuss an end to this conflict. Now,
Speaking to Fox News, Vance also noted that a meeting between the leaders of Russia and Ukraine would be more productive after Putin first sits down with U.S. President Donald Trump. The U.S. Vice President added that the Trump administration hopes to secure a negotiated settlement to the war in Ukraine, though he warned that both sides will probably be unhappy with the outcome.
We're going to try to find some negotiated settlement that the Ukrainians and the Russians can live with, where they can live in relative peace, where the killing stops. It's not going to make anybody super happy,
Meanwhile, according to a senior U.S. official and three people briefed on internal discussions, the White House is considering inviting Zelenskyy to Alaska, where Trump is scheduled to meet Putin next week. However, the sources said no visit has been finalized and it remains unclear whether Zelenskyy will attend. When asked about the formal invitation, the senior official said that Trump remains open to a trilateral summit, but added that the White House is focusing on planning the bilateral summit requested by Putin. While Kyiv has yet to comment on the matter, European allies of Ukraine have reiterated that any peace talks with Russia must include Ukraine. In a joint statement on Saturday, the leaders of the UK, France, Italy, Germany, Poland, Finland, and the European Commission underscored that position ahead of Friday's Trump-Putin meeting in Alaska. The European leaders also expressed their support for Trump's efforts to end the war in Ukraine, but stressed that only an approach that combines diplomacy, support to Ukraine, and pressure on the Russian Federation to end their illegal war can succeed. Zelenskyy has previously said any agreements reached without Kyiv's involvement would amount to dead decisions. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Monday that the goal of expanding military operations in the Gaza Strip is not to prolong the war but to end it. Speaking to the press, the Israeli leader stressed that Israel has no choice but to defeat Hamas and complete the mission, adding that Israel's goal is not to occupy Gaza but to liberate it. He noted that he ordered the military to accelerate the timetable for seizing Gaza from Hamas control, citing his determination to end the war swiftly. Netanyahu reiterated 5 principles outlined during a security cabinet meeting last week, where he called for the disarmament of Hamas, the return of all hostages, the demilitarization of Gaza, Israeli security control over the territory, and the establishment of an alternative civilian government not linked to Hamas or the Palestinian Authority.
Good morning, I'm Choi Ji-hee, and this is The World Now. Beginning in the United States, President Donald Trump has announced sweeping measures to clean up Washington, D.C. He has ordered the immediate removal of homeless people from the city and pledged to crack down on violent crime. Trump said on Truth Social on Saturday that homeless individuals will be moved out immediately to facilities far from the Capitol. Trump also said he would unveil on Monday his initiative to address the city's violent crime. The president threatened to take federal control of Washington, D.C. on August 5th, saying that crime in Washington, D.C. is totally out of control. The city's mayor, Muriel Bowser, responded on Sunday that Trump's move is legally questionable and noted that violent crime in the city is down 26% this year, with overall crime down 7%, and that 2024 had the lowest violent crime rate in 3 decades. The mayor said what the city needs instead are more federal prosecutors, judges, and funding for repairs to parks and buildings. The leaders of Australia and New Zealand agreed to strengthen military cooperation in the face of heightened regional tensions, including a Chinese live-fire naval drill earlier this year. New Zealand Prime Minister Christopher Luxon and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese met on Saturday in New Zealand, where they highlighted the need for improved interoperability between their armed forces. Luxon called Australia New Zealand's only ally and called for a unified ANZAC force, referring to the Australian-New Zealand Army Corps operating across the region. Albanese reaffirmed their shared commitment to regional stability. The summit comes after Chinese naval vessels conducted a live-fire exercise in the Tasman Sea in February without prior notification, an action that disrupted commercial flights and prompted Canberra and Wellington to seek deeper defense alignment. 4 crew members of NASA's Crew 10 mission have safely returned to Earth after a 5-month stay aboard the International Space Station. The SpaceX Crew Dragon Endurance capsule splashed down in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Southern California on Saturday at 11:33 a.m. The returning astronauts include NASA's Anne McClain and Nicole Ayers, Japan's Takuya Onishi, and Russia's Kirill Peskov. Their mission involved conducting over 200 scientific experiments, performing spacewalks, and maintaining the station during their 146 days aboard. In Bosnia and Herzegovina, the 10th International Waterfall Jumping Competition took place in Jace on Saturday. The contest drew 16 divers from across the globe to leap from the 20-meter-high Pliva waterfall into the deep pool below in a unique traditional event. Competitors executed the lasta, or swallow-style jumps, diving styles in which the arms extend outward and the diver enters the water head first. The competition, supported by local and federal authorities and held annually, continues to grow as a tourism highlight.
We have a lot of rain in the forecast for this week. Through tomorrow, the south coast could see up 200 millimeters of downpours. Meanwhile, the rest of southern provinces and Jeju Island might get up to 80 millimeters. Now, the south coast in particular should brace for heavy downpours of around 30 millimeters per hour from this afternoon into the night. Please stay safe and take precautions. Meanwhile, for parts of Gyeonggi-do and Gangwon-do provinces, the The passing showers will bring 5 to 40 millimeters of rainfall along with thunderstorms in the afternoon. Rain and cloudy skies will bring down the highs to 31 degrees Celsius here in Seoul, Daegu at just 29 degrees. Now, heat wave advisory only remains in place for Jeju for now with an expected high of 30 degrees Celsius. But a heat advisory could get reissued in parts of West with higher daytime highs expected in the capital areas tomorrow. But again, this week we'll be seeing a lot of rain, so please keep an umbrella handy.
That's all we have for this morning. Arirang News will be back at 5 p.m. Korea time. Thanks for watching.
그날은 역사 속 사건이 아니다. 두려움 앞에 멈추지 않는 태도이며 포기하지 않고 나아가려는 마음이다. 그것이 지금 우리의 자세이고 모두가 기억해야 할 광복이다. 두려움에 맞서는 포기하지 않는 용기. 광복 80년. 과거가 아닌 내일을 여는 희망찬 시작. 빛나는 발걸음. 새로운 길. 광복 80년.
A country where traditional and modern cultures coexist.
Where you can explore spectacular landscapes and nature.
Savor the delights of traveling at every turn.
Where? Korea, of course.
There are some must-visit places in Korea. Ones that appear in every tour guidebook: Hangang River, Gyeongbokgung Palace from the Joseon Dynasty, and
Yes, these are essentials, but I want to go somewhere a little different. I don't have to follow the guidebook. For example, filming locations for K-pop music videos or K-dramas and movies.
traveling is all about taking it slow. A long walk at your own pace, or even zoning out somewhere quiet. Doesn't it sound relaxing?
You travel for the experience, trying something new in a foreign place, de-stressing and making lifetime memories, taking tons of pictures along the way.
70% of the Korean territory is mountainous. Naturally, hiking is a very popular pastime in Korea. Not your kind of activity? Trust me, the view will make the effort worth it. Just catch your breath by the cold stream in the valley.
Korea is surrounded by the sea on three sides. From the beach, you can enjoy a wide open view as well as various water activities. But the riverside is great too. There's plenty to see and do.
If you're in Korea, you can't miss the night view full of dazzling lights.
Yes, even the same place can have a totally different vibe at night.
Want to make unforgettable memories?
How about traveling to all corners of Korea? Join us next time to explore more about Korean culture.
Welcome to the Globalists. Welcome to the Globalists. Welcome to the Globalists. We're in a new set, a brand new set.
I am a globalist. And I'm the globalist. And I'm the globalist who wants to bring jang right into your kitchen.
We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day. We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Monday, August 11th here in Seoul. I'm Lee Soo-jin, and this is News Generation. Joining us is Im Sang-yeon.
Hi guys, good to see you.
Happy Monday. And also, Kyun's with us today.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. And both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. So it's Monday, and as we kick off a brand new work week, we're turning our attention to a trend that's been dominating everything from social media feeds to Billboard charts. We're talking about K-pop Demon Hunters, the animated film that's been turning heads with its unique blend of action, music, and Korean culture. So first things first, have you seen it yet? What did you think of the story and characters, Sang-yeon?
Yes, I saw it, and even though I don't really like animation, it was so fun that I didn't have to pause in the middle. So yeah, I think K-pop Demon Hunters has all the keys to what makes an animation successful. It has catchy songs and lyrics, and the protagonists are K-pop artists, which many young global fans have a huge interest in right now. And best of all, the art director did a really good job on portraying Korean culture. I noticed there were many scenes which the Korean viewers could relate to, such as binge eating spicy food after a tough day, Korea's traditional animals like tiger and magpie. I also noticed there was a scene where the main characters visit a traditional Korean hospital, which is something we haven't seen often in films created in the West.
Right, I think for me too, the part about visiting Korean traditional hospitals is really interesting because for us it's kind of normal to get. Like,
right.
Recently, actually, I was telling one of the PDs of the show that I was experiencing back and shoulder pains, and he actually recommended me a traditional Korean hospital. But I feel like in the West, it's more common to maybe recommend a physical therapist or chiropractor. So that's really interesting to me.
Maybe you work too much.
maybe I do. I maybe deserve a break. What about you, Kyun?
No, I found the animation to be very different, unique, because in the sense that K-pop Demon Hunters was jointly produced by Netflix and Sony Animation Pictures, which was a little, I guess, distinct from Disney or Studio Ghibli styles. It had a well-blended global appeal that seemed very Western because it was all spoken in English, but it had very traditional Korean elements in the movie. It was very authentic from the foods and locations like Kimbap and the Namsan Tower. Furthermore, the universal appeal of demons really resonated well with the global viewers because the audience's fascination of supernatural antagonists was really appealing. And not to mention the great voice acting of our own Korean actor Lee Byung-eun, Guima. It was really good to see as well. And also in terms of characters, the members of both Huntrix and the Saja Boys were modeled on and inspired by big groups like Blackpink, Twice, BTS, and Tomorrow by Together, which helped viewers to really familiarize with these members and to draw a strong connection with them. And by far, my favorite character was actually Bobby, played by Ken Jeong, an American actor and comedian, because I know someone in the entertainment industry who is very much like this person. And he was also a manager as well.
Oh, I see.
It has so many familiar features. I was like, how did they actually depict that character? Maybe they saw that manager in real life, and I could draw that really close connection, which actually made it really, I guess, more entertaining for me to watch the animation.
Just out of curiosity, Bobby was Huntrix's manager. So what about this person that you know who you said was also a manager?
He was also a manager.
What were some of the similarities?
The way he spoke. He was very emotional, a little feminine at the same time, but very passionate towards his work. The manager I knew as well, he also had like a hard time in the middle to stay with this, like we all do. But he eventually overcame it, and I think he's still in the industry. I don't really talk to him anymore, but like his features, like appearance as well, was very similar.
Also the physical appearance was similar. I wonder if it's like a manager thing.
Maybe.
It's been almost 2 months since the release, but the popularity of this movie seems to be still going strong across the globe. So can you tell us more about this, Sang-yeon?
Sure. So 2 months have already passed since the release of K-pop Demon Hunters, but this animation is still a thing for many global audiences. So if you look at here on the screen, as of last July, Netflix announced that K-pop Demon Hunters marked the highest view debut after 5 weeks of its release. And in other words, K-pop Demon Hunters is the most watched animation on Netflix in recent years. Usually when a film comes out, the number of viewers tend to decline as time goes by, but the popularity of K-pop Demon Hunters is still drawing an upward line, making a new record every week.
So we obviously can't talk about the popularity of this film without mentioning the soundtrack. So what are your thoughts on this? The soundtrack has been trending on multiple music platforms. So how much do you think the music has contributed to the film's success, Kyun?
You know, for me, the Saja Boys' Soda Pop is still playing in my head. You're my soda pop. My little soda pop. Because of its highly addictive lyrics, you know, the melody, and of course the choreography. It just completes the whole performance. And just to give you some numbers and rankings, Huntrix's song Golden ranked #1 on Billboard Global 200 and UK singles chart, and is currently #2 on US Billboard Hot 100 and #7 on Canada 100. While the Saja Boys' Your Idol peaked at #9 on Billboard Hot 100 and #3 on Billboard Global 200. And these are incredible feats considering that they're all original soundtracks from an animation movie, and these songs are and performances from the animation really amplify the movie to another level because it blends in smoothly with the lines within the scenes, and it really immerses you even more because not only does it entertain your ears but your eyes as well because of their all beautiful choreography moves, and it's almost like watching a real K-pop idol concert and a musical at the same time.
Do you personally have a favorite song from the soundtrack?
Soda Pop.
Soda Pop's your favorite?
By far.
I think mine would be... You can join, I think. I can see you in the group.
I won't be too... I look young.
I'm
not young in real life, but I kind of look young for my age, so maybe I can make the group.
I can see you in the group.
But season 2...
That's what we're forward to.
Or I could be just a demon. Casted as a demon.
So the movie is rooted in K-culture. Sanghyun, do you think it's sparking more global interest in Korean culture overall? Is K-pop Demon Hunters just entertainment, or is it playing a bigger role in promoting Korean culture internationally?
Yeah, so even though K-pop Demon Hunters was produced in the States, it covers a wide range of Korean cultures thanks to many Korean singers, dancers, and producers contributing to making the film. So if you have ever watched this animation, you would have noticed Korea's traditional cultural aspects from Korean food, Gov't, which is a traditional Korean hat worn by men, or a white tiger character. And many overseas viewers are also showing interest in the setting of the animation, which features several places in Seoul, such as Bukchon Hanok village and Namsan Mountain. And just last month, the number of visitors who visited the National Museum of Korea doubled compared to last year. The museum also recently produced special souvenirs that resemble characters and objects from K-pop Demon Hunters, such as pen, keychain, and even soju cups. And now these souvenirs are almost sold out due to the animation's huge popularity.
So Kyun, what were some uniquely Korean elements in the movie that international viewers might have found unfamiliar at first?
The bathhouse featured in the film gives a remarkably accurate depiction of the actual Korean public bathhouses in Korea. And as this gains popularity, not only public baths, but also Korea's signature 찜질방, which is Korean sauna, and 땜iri, which is body scrub, reportedly becoming popular tourist attractions among many foreigners recently. And interest in the traditional medicine clinic shown in the film as Han의원, H-A-N, 의원 clinic, it shows that more visitors to Seoul are gaining more interest in a K medicinal herb center because the number of visitors has actually doubled, even though it was actually the off-season.
Do you also go to these Korean?
I do get my acupunctures every now and then whenever I have a sore body part or whether I've sprained my ankle. So it's very accessible. I mean, you'll see a Han의원 pretty much in every single block. You even see 2 in one building, and it may it may hurt for the person who's doing it for the first time, but once you get used to it, it relieves the pain immediately. Maybe it's not the best source of, I guess, cure in the long term, but for that short-term immediate cure, it definitely helps, and I do recommend it.
Right, so today I guess we'll be speaking with an expert in Korean medicine to better understand this rising curiosity, what's drawing more overseas visitors to explore traditional Korean treatments and how this centuries-old practice is being received around the world. And that conversation is coming up right after the break, so don't go anywhere.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirang News. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
Now we're going to hear from Lee Chang-gyo, a Korean medicine doctor. Hi, Dr. Lee. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello. Yes.
Hi. So compared to a few years ago, have you seen an increase in the number of foreign patients visiting Korean medicine clinics?
Yes, we have. Since COVID-19, people around the world care more about their health. Trust in alternative and integrating medicine is also growing. And thanks to K-culture and K-pop, interest in Korean medicine has become stronger. People are now looking for more than just pain relief. They want to restore balance and help the body heal itself. At Reborn Korean Medicine Hospital, we see almost 1,000 foreign patients every year. Many of them come back or tell their friends to visit us.
Okay, Dr. Lee, then what kinds of treatments are then most popular among foreign patients?
Most foreign patients visit us for three things: a weight loss program, spinal and joint care, and facial asymmetry correction. Our herbal weight loss program works well and is easy to take as pills and uses natural ingredients. That's why it's very popular in Europe and the Middle East. For spine and joint problems, we use our signature method, SART, Spine Alignment Restoration Therapy. It is a non-surgical way to fix spinal misalignment and help the body move better. Facial asymmetry correction is also in high demand. Many patients don't know it often comes from a twisted neck bone. We first fix the whole spine, then make gentle adjustments to the face. This improves both health and symmetry.
Dr. Lee, in your view, what makes Korean traditional medicine special or valuable?
The biggest strength of Korean medicine is that it works with the body, not against it. We see symptoms as the body's way of protecting itself. Our job is to understand them and guide the body back to balance. Sartre showed this philosophy well. We believe the body is made to adapt, protect, and heal on its own. When the spine is out of place, stress on joints, ligaments, muscles, and nerves increases. The body reacts with pain, inflammation, or muscle tightness. These are not mistakes, they are survival strategies. When we restore the spine to its best position, the body works more efficiently. Healing becomes faster, function improves, and posture and symmetry get better. I hope Korean medicine will be known worldwide as modern, scientific, and full of deep wisdom. At Reborn Korean Medicine Hospital, we want to lead that change. Thank you.
I also hope that foreign patients across the world will be able to experience this. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
So we just heard from a Korean medicine doctor about how interest from international patients is growing, what kinds of treatments are gaining the most attention, how Korea hopes to share the value of traditional medicine with the world. So it's clear that Korean culture continues to resonate globally, not just through pop culture, but also through wellness and healing. And that brings us back to K-pop Demon Hunters, a film that seems to capture both energy and identity in a way that's connecting with audiences everywhere. So why do you think people are going absolutely crazy over this movie? What's the secret behind its success, Sang-yo?
So as I mentioned in the opening, I think catchy songs and lyrics have contributed to the global hit of this animation. On top of that, according to the British BBC's critic, K-pop Demon Hunters harmoniously combine Korea's traditional culture with modern-day K-pop stylings. Now, the animation's director also stated that K-pop's global influence played a key role in gaining the popularity of the animation. In other words, the success of K-pop Demon Hunters testifies the global popularity of K-pop. And apart from that, I think the reason why K-pop Demon Hunters could have become such a global hit was due to its storyline. The message of this animation is not that serious, yet touching, and everyone can directly follow the storyline without the need of deeply analyzing into characters' minds or feelings. And because in the end, I think animation should have some kind of childish and fun aspects in order to become popular instead of conveying complex or difficult messages.
I think some people in the beginning might be put off by like the K-pop aspect of it. They might find it a bit childish, but at the same time, there is like a good message of like, you know, how important resilience is and stuff like that.
So I don't want to give a spoiler, but I really recommend you guys watch it till the end. It's quite touching.
I agree. So what other elements do you think contribute to its popularity beyond the obvious, like the animation, the soundtrack? Were there any other ingredients that made it such a hit, Kyun?
Yeah, I mentioned this in the beginning, but just to dig deeper, the character setups that evoke real K-pop idols was another main driving force behind the immense popularity of K-pop Demon Hunters. In the story, the fictional idol groups of Huntrix and the Saja Boys are as popular as BTS and Blackpink. Notably, the Saja Boys are said to have built their fandom strategy by directly mirroring the real-world structure of K-idol fan culture. For example, having like a baby face member with a deep rap voice, one with long hair and like a mysterious concept, another one with like chiseled abs that like the Huntrix members like fall in love for, like with popcorns falling out from their eyes. And there's also a lot of secondary fan content trending online right now, such as finding real idols who actually resemble the characters from the Saja Boys, or even creating AI real-life versions of them. So it is definitely trending, even through online.
I like how you mentioned fan culture because they also had a scene where they had a fan meeting.
They did, yeah.
Right, and actually one of the members of 17 was asked about this fan meeting, and he was saying how that part was a bit inaccurate because he said in real life, like there's no like a real life scenario where boy group members and girl group members will be the same joint
fan meeting.
Right, but it's so interesting to have that kind of culture represented.
That could be like a new idea for the real idols in Korea right now. Having joined
with a male.
Actually, we shouldn't.
Would you go to that if you were a fan of a girl group?
I would.
Really?
To see like another member, another group that's really popular, but among fans, I don't think they'll really like it.
Especially because they're different genders.
Exactly.
Too.
Yep.
So yeah, and they were sitting so close to each other too in the film too. So if you could point out one fun detail in the film to international fans, what would it be? Is there a small cultural reference or inside joke that non-Korean viewers might have missed, Hyun?
So when Saja Boys were singing Soda Pop on the street, there was a brief scene showing three Ajumma fans, the mid-aged women. They were wearing vivid colored hiker clothes, yes, you can see here on the screen, with super curly hair. And I thought the director was quite good at portraying the typical Ajummas in Korea. You can actually see them when you go hiking in the Korean mountains. And I'm sure not many people noticed this. When the three Huntrix girls were trying to have a snack before their concert, did you notice they were sitting on the floor with their back laid to the sofa? This is actually a genuine Korean thing. And because many Koreans prefer to sit on the floor, even though they have a sofa in their home. And instead, the sofa becomes a comfortable backrest.
I actually do that at home.
Yeah, me too.
I sit on the floor. Were there any other moments that felt deeply Korean to you? Did you notice any details in the movie that really stood out as being deeply rooted in Korean culture, Kyun?
One scene that I really resonated with was when the three members of Huntrix actually were at a restaurant having sundaekguk, or the Korean blood sausage soup with soju, and they were having a really deep conversation. And look, it's a very common thing, or one of the most Korean things you can do in Korea is to have sundaekguk over soju alone, because many of these restaurants are open till very late or even 24 hours, and it's very common to see people just have sundaekguk over soju alone, because I'm sure many of your viewers have seen it through dramas or movies, but sundaekguk is very filling, it's very affordable, and to top it off with soju, people usually have this when they're having a really, really hard time in their lives, and when they have, they don't know what to do. They're like in a they're in this phase where they need to make a big decision, but they don't know what to do right now. So usually they'll just head to a restaurant after work, late at night. But in the movie, they were actually she was with the two other members, which was another thing that resembles Korean culture, we like to have drinks and food together. It has to be like a collective kind of
Gossip a
experience.
bit,
Gossip a bit. And they were there for her. So I was like, oh, you know, I could really feel what the characters were feeling, what Rumi was going through, because I've done it myself in Korea. I've had sundae soju alone.
By yourself usually?
By myself. And it's a very common thing. Like, people don't look at you at all. They're like, oh, he must be, or she must be going through a really tough time right now.
Did it help you get through tough times?
It did for that moment,
okay.
yeah. And I still remember like that time where I actually had sundae over soju. So it's a classic kind of combination many Koreans have alone.
So I guess that's something else we could recommend to your foreign viewers. So sequels reportedly in the works. So what aspects of Korean culture would you love to see featured more in K-pop Demon Hunters 2? And if you could give the creators one suggestion, this is kind of a hard question, I guess, but what would you want them to showcase the next time around, Sang-yeon?
Well, if the sequel of K-pop Demon Hunters out to be successful once again, I think the music director must make an extra effort to come up with a song that can outbid or at least comparable to The Golden, which is the theme song of K-pop Demon Hunters. I believe the theme song also played a crucial role, so the sequel's theme song should be good. And just like the sequel of Disney animation Frozen made a secondary success with theme songs like Into the Unknown or Show Yourself, which was much as good as Let It Go, a catchy song should also be included in the sequel to continue the global success of K-pop Demon Hunters.
So what about you, Kyun? Any ideas?
If they're gonna make a sequel, maybe cast me as one of the next Saja boys or the next demon. I don't know.
The next Jinwoo. Okay.
Or the next Jinwoo. Oh, maybe. Okay. I think maybe adding more Korean language in the movie.
Oh, that's a good
because we saw a lot of Korean words and Korean words, even in the lyrics as well. But adding more actually like genuine traditional Korean language could really make this animation a bit more Korean. A bit more genuine as well, because I think more foreigners around the world are having more interest in the Korean language, and they actually enjoy learning this language, and they find it very interesting because of the craze of K content. More people are exposed to the Korean language, and that's why they have that kind of interest. Oh, I want to learn more about Korean. And seeing this through animations that more people are watching could actually help them better understand the language, or even learn it naturally, or even in an entertaining way, instead of just like sitting down and just in a classroom format learning the language. So maybe adding a bit more Korean and just using English subtitles will be maybe, I guess, one option.
I like how you point out the language because, you know, for the song Golden as well, they do have a bit of Korean.
Not enough.
But not enough. I think if there's more, I think that would be really nice.
I think it should be the other way around. More Korean and just less English. Yeah.
I agree. So whether it's the stunning visuals, the catchy soundtrack, or the clever nods to Korean culture, K-pop Demon Hunters is clearly more than just a viral hit. It's part of a bigger wave of content that's bringing Korean stories to global audiences. And we'll definitely be keeping an eye out for what comes next, not just from K-pop Demon Hunters, but from other films and series that blend Korean culture with bold storytelling and global appeal. So if K-pop Demon Hunters is any indication, this could be just the beginning of a whole new wave of creative, culturally rich content. So we're conducting a program survey which includes News Generation until August 17th to better meet our viewers' expectations. So please visit us at www.arirang.com or on the Arirang TV mobile app to share your valuable feedback. And by participating, you'll also have a chance to win Bluetooth earbuds and exclusive K-pop merchandise. And this brings us to the end of today's episode of News Generation, but News Gen will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time. Big thanks to Sang-yeon.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in, and Kyun.
Always a pleasure.
And to all our viewers, thank you so much for watching, and we hope you have the best day. We are
News Generation.
How to survive in Korea. Weddings. Step 0. Attire. As a guest, dress formal to business casual. Avoid wearing all white, shorts or going topless. Step 1. Arrival time. Arrive 30 minutes prior to the wedding ceremony. Too many cars, too many halls, too many people. There are many twists and turns. Take pictures and shake hands. And write your name vertically, not horizontally, in the guest book. Step 2. Or, shib, shibor. 50,001